Now let's jump to a position that isn't necessarily somewhere I see Miami going in the first round, but I could see them going later just because of the signings that we've made at the linebacker position. We still have whatchamacallit in the middle who was really good for us last year, Brooks. We re-signed Tyrell Dodson. We signed KJ Britt. We signed Willie Gay. We still have Channing Tindall for some unfreaking known reason in the universe. Um,
I swear he's got something like dirt on one of the coaches.
it's just such a shame. He was like our first pick that year, wasn't he? He was third round or something like that.
Yeah, something
Second
like
round,
that.
third round, something like that. Whatever.
Yeah, I think it was
Anyways, looking at the linebackers, I see two guys stand out: Jihad Campbell, who has been on Josh's hot list for a while now, and then Jalen Walker over there
Ooh, I don't have Walker on my top 100.
in George. Oh, interesting. So let's start with Taylor then, and then we'll hop over to Josh to see the difference. You're
So
muted.
I get Jihad Campbell as my only linebacker because I have Jalen Walker listed as an edge rusher. I think you get sideline to sideline tackling ability.
Yeah.
Prototypical linebacker. He reminds me a lot of Fred Warner.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say I think you could use him as an outside linebacker, inside linebacker. His versatility there. I like his blitzing ability from the linebacker position. I do think you put him on the edge and you try to blitz him that way, it will not end well very often. He kind of will go for a spin move and then just get knocked off kilter a lot. He can cover, dissect plays. I think he's going to be a really. I really hate like trying to label people as like, oh, I think he's going to be like a top 10 player. I do think he's got that potential though.
Yeah, my apologies there on a Jalen Walker thing. He is an edge rusher, so we're just talking Jihad Campbell here for
No,
first
no.
round. Or what
Oh,
we
first
talking?
round. Yeah. First round.
Yeah, for first round linebackers.
Yeah, same, right? Jihad Campbell, first round. 14th overall player. I have his player comp is Tevin Wallace, who out of Kentucky. I believe he's with Carolina right now. I have him actually as he can play outside linebacker, but I think he'd be an amazing inside linebacker, right? I mean, he brings everything. He brings pass rush, he brings speed, he brings height, he brings that dog mentality, aggression. If he was our pick, I know it's not a crazy position of need. We have much more serious positions of needs, but this is one along the lines of the tight Jesus, I'm forgetting everyone's name today. Who's the tight end we all love?
Tyler Warren.
Thank you. He is in that Tyler Warren type conversations. We don't really need him, but if you bring him, you basically are getting a linebacker / edge rusher that can do everything, right?
Yeah, I think to Taylor's point here, not wanting to label guys top 10, I think there's just a few guys who are difficult because like linebacker is the redheaded stepchild of the defense nowadays. The teams aren't really spending highly on a linebacker, which I disagree with. I love linebackers. I think you guys are in the same place as me. But I think that holds true for a bunch of the guys. With Tyler Warren, we've seen in almost every mock draft that we've personally done, he falls to 13, right? Just because tight end's not this huge position of need for a lot of teams. And I think there's going to be a few guys that we see like that who just are top 10 talents, but they fall because it's a position that teams are like, yeah. All right. Corner is a huge need for Miami. Currently, we are looking at Jalen Ramsey on one side, and take your pick between Storm Duck and Ethan Bonner. And who else do we have? Cam Smith and Isaiah Johnson.
Smith.
And what's that?
Legendary Dolphin, Cam Smith.
Legendary Dolphin Cam Smith, and the newly signed Artie Burns, who probably won't make the team. So to say corner is a position of need is like saying defensive line is a position of need. Duh. So
like saying we need water to live. Like no.
Right. So Josh, why don't you kick us off here? How many guys you got in the first round, and which ones do you think fit us the best?
Yeah, so I have 3 cornerbacks with first round grades. I have 2 others with fringe first round grades, but I'm just going to talk about the surefire first round grade players here. I have 3 of them. Travis Hunter, who I know is a cornerback / wide receiver. A lot of people, delusional Fin fans, has him. Taylor likes him as a wide receiver more so than a cornerback, based on conversations. I could be wrong, so if I am, please correct me. But I have him as a better cornerback prospect than a wide receiver prospect. I have him as my number 2 overall player in the entire draft, or rather on my top 100. I have his player comp as Champ Bailey. He's got an insanely high from a Dolphin standpoint, he's in my opinion, the best fit at cornerback for us. If he happens to be there at 13, I don't even know you would get a crap load of phone calls and you just hang up on all of them, right? And you take the player. The other two that I have are Jade Barron, who he is on my man crush list. He is my guy in this draft. And Will Johnson. There are quite a lot of folks, some who shall not be named, but whose names rhyme with Mailer, right? Who think Jade Barron's more of a slot player than an outside corner. I disagree heavily.
He can play both.
Well, that is not how you address this.
Whoa, he was talking about Mailer, not Taylor. Why are you getting so defensive?
Yeah, whoa.
That's fair. It could be anybody.
Yeah, it could be anyone, but it's you. So Travis Hunter, in the order from a round one Dolphins fit standpoint, it's Travis Hunter, Jade Barron, and Will Johnson. Now, Will Johnson and Jade Barron have a 0.8 point difference on my Dolphins fit scheme score thingy. I don't know what the hell to call it anymore, but any one of these three players are there at 13. This is the only thing that would deter you from taking either an offensive lineman or a defensive tackle.
All right. Yeah. So I think, corner, huge need. And these names are names I've heard for a while now. I don't think there's any chance Travis Hunter gets there, but varying mocks show Will Johnson falling to us.
I will say this. If we can somehow finagle a bong video.
Perhaps, I don't think that would deter anybody these days.
That's fair. You know what? That's fair.
It's way later now.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think we're looking at potentially Will Johnson, potentially Jade Barron, potentially both of them off the board, which would be a nightmare scenario for us.
Yeah, it sure would be.
Josh, you just went. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no
Taylor rhymes with mailer, apparently. That's the best Josh could do here.
Hey, it's 8:30, man. I've had a long day.
You see things a little differently. This isn't water. Taylor, how do you see this playing out for the cornerback position?
An interesting team to talk about with the corner positions, the Raiders, by the way. Pick at 6, and of course I'm thinking Travis Hunter's already off the board by now. And I could really see him getting either Will Johnson or Barron. And I think that leaves whoever isn't picked there and Siobhan Revel out of Eastern Carolina. I'm actually fine with any of those three. Mm-hmm. I came away unimpressed with Will Johnson's 2024 film. Mm-hmm. His Fresno State game in particular was not good.
It was atrocious.
Yeah, it wasn't great. But there's something about Siobhan Revel from Eastern Carolina that I just really love.
Yeah, I have my number 4 on him, though. Where do you have him in round 1? You have a round 1 grade on?
Number 14.
Whoa, are you serious?
Yes. I really like what I saw from Revel, man. I know he has a torn ACL coming off.
Yeah, I was about to say, even with his injury history.
But this is a guy, he worked at an Amazon warehouse while at a JUCO college. He fought his way to ESU, both on the field and in the classroom. He was a reserve in 2022, played for 9 games and an ACL tear in 2024. But, man, I have here just the film in 2023 and that freakish athleticism. It's just it projects to me like a Jalen Ramsey type player.
Yeah, who's your comp for Revel? Is it Ramsey?
It's Ramsey.
I have Rasul Douglas.
Hey, man.
Hey, Douglas is pretty good in his.
No, that's not a knock.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, prime Rasul Douglas.
That's a good player.
Yeah. The Siobhan Revel story is very interesting, but Taylor is the only one I see banging the table for him. So it's crazy though, because we always see surprises in the first round, and now we won't be surprised if we see Siobhan Revel.
No, but I will say this: if Revel's there in round 2, irregardless of who we take in round 1, outside of a cornerback, obviously, you run to the podium.
Just double up on corner. Eagles did it last year. It worked out quite fine for them.
Yeah, it worked out fantastic for them.
I mean, that's a fair point, right? Who needs a defensive tackle or safety when you have 15 cornerbacks?
Talent. When you have talent.
I am curious because this is a serious position of need. So who are your top, in order, your top cornerbacks? You're muted.
Travis Hunter, I guess, would count. So Travis Hunter 1, Siobhan Revel 2, Jade Barron 3, and then Will Johnson 4.
You have Revel over Barron and Johnson. I did not know that. Okay. And who are your player comps for all of them? Just out of curiosity. I love player comps, if you couldn't tell. I love talking about them.
Jedi Barron, I get Kool-Aid McKinstry, and for Will Johnson, I have Derek Stingley Jr. Now, the thing about Johnson and that comp of Stingley Jr., I wasn't a big fan of Stingley Jr. coming out of college. I really didn't like his tape at LSU. And I was really wrong about him. So there's a good chance I'm really wrong about Will Johnson too. And I still have him as a first-round grade, but it's interesting that that's the comp I came up with.
Yeah, so my comps for the other three. So Hunter, Barron, and Johnson. Hunter, I have Champ Bailey. Jade Barron, I have Xavier Howard, which we're all very, very familiar with. And Will Johnson, I have Patrick Surtain II, which would be amazing.
Yes, it would. All right. Last position here in the first round, then we will move a little bit quicker through the second round because we have talked about a lot of the guys in the second round, but we're going to talk about them again. We're going to go to the safety position, another position of need. I know we signed Melifonwu, we signed Ashton Davis, we re-signed Elijah Campbell, but Elijah Campbell is a special teamer. Ashton Davis, for a large part, is a special teamer as well. I know there's some thought there that he could fill in as a starter, but God, I hope not, or we're in a really tough spot. And Melifonwu is often injured, so this is another huge position of need. Defense is really hurting now that we're going through this exercise. I'm realizing the defense is in a really bad spot. So, Taylor, I'm going to start with you, man. How many safeties do you have in the first round, and how many are fit for Miami?
I have two safeties. I'm going to let Josh talk about the other one because I already know who he's going to talk about. So I'll focus on Malachi Starks. I think he does have some soft zone tendencies, and his 2024 film is not as great. A little bit like Will Johnson in that regard. But I really love his upside as this versatile player who could really line up as that center field safety. You could put him in the box. Honestly, I think you can put him in the slot at times. I really do. He's that Kyle Hamilton type to me, where you can just like throw him anywhere. And I think that'd be perfect with Anthony Weaver's defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the crazy part about Starks is, and I know we've been on the Starks bandwagon and off the bandwagon and back on the bandwagon again for a while here, is that the most popular place I'm seeing him mocked right now is the Steelers.
Where are they? 10? Where
they're like 21, I think.
21.
Yeah, so just keep taking all the safety Steelers. That's fine. Nobody else needs one. It's no big deal. Josh, what are your thoughts on Starks? And then I know that there's another guy here in the first round that you want to talk about.
Yeah, so I mean, Starks was my, if you guys remember back right when the season ended, and I did, for some stupid reason, before anything came out, I like to do quick mock drafts just to start, hammering some players. And Malachi Starks was the guy for me, right? And he still is at 13. If we took Malachi Starks, I'd be sitting pretty, I'd be doing backflips, and I'd be high-fiving everyone, right? Because I think what this team currently, who we signed in free agency, if we need one to be the number one, sure, right? However, we signed two number twos, right?
Yeah.
And you get a guy like Malachi Starks, he slots in there immediately and is your star safety, right? And you feel comfortable. That's a position you can kind of plug and forget for the next 5 years, hopefully for the next 10 years. I have two safeties with round one grades. Starks is one of them. The other one is Nick Imanwari, who I'm a massive fan of. I have Nick Imanwari as my number one safety. Malachi Starks is my number two. Imanwari I have as my 13th overall player. I have a Cam Chancellor grade comp on him. Malachi Starks, I have Kevin Byard, right?
Okay. And then Taylor had Kyle Hamilton for Starks, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it was. Nick Imanwari is kind of the Ivan Drago of safeties, right? For those of you that aren't familiar with Ivan Drago, he was made in a lab, and he fought Rocky. And yes, he lost, but Nick Imanwari
is such a good comp.
He can't beat the main character.
No, I mean Nick Imanwari is the guy that he's got everything you want: speed, height, brains, hands, long arms, big hands. It can play both safety positions in my opinion, but is better kind of crashing the box. He's not. I think he's secondarily better as a kind of deep deep field safety, but he's more of that in the snowman role, if you will, the one we lost. I don't like mentioning players that we lost, but that one stung. But, Imanwari should not be there at 13, in my opinion. Starks probably will be there at 13. If either of those players are there when we're on the clock, I mean, it'd be very hard to pass up on them, given the need that we have. Granted, defensive tackle, I think, is with who we signed in the safety room. Defensive tackle and cornerback are probably a slight bit to a lot more important than the safety position, in my opinion. But man, it would be hard to be mad at either of those players.